All right, good morning to everyone, or good afternoon, I guess, or good evening, or whatever, time zones and whatnot. So let me go ahead and bring this up. So I want to remind everyone before we get started that I have Udemy courses available for purchase. So if you like my style of explaining code, or you like my tutoring style, the course is basically just 17 hours of that. And if you get the C# course, I believe it's 22 or 23 hours of video content packed full of information. So if you want to learn how to build a complete game in the Godot engine, you can check out the Survivor style course, which is GD script, or you can use or check out the C# course. That is linked in the description below. Oh goodness, today is going to be difficult for me to enunciate my words. I also have Gunforged available for sale. It's my first real commercial release as a full-time indie game developer. So if you want to support me, check it out. There's a demo you can try. You can also get it at a discount, a combined discount if you purchase it as part of a bundle. And leave a review if you end up playing it. I would appreciate that. I have 51 reviews, very positive, so that's very much appreciated. And yeah, let's get right into what we're going to be doing today. Is there anything else I want to mention? Oh yeah, I'm starting a new series on this channel, a Godot code review series. So if you want your project potentially featured in a video where I just poke around the code and review it and offer my critique and feedback, then you can check out the pinned link in the chat there and you can submit your project there. The video format is basically going to be anywhere between 10 to 30 minutes of just poking around your project, doing review, and that will be showcased on my channel. And of course, if you get featured, you have the option of specifying how you want to be credited. I'll give you a shout out to your social media channels or Steam page, or you can remain anonymous if you want. So definitely check that out. And yeah, I'm accepting projects at all stages of development. So it could be a very mature project, or it could be a project that you're just starting that you have questions about. Anyway, the first video of that series is coming out on Friday at the normal stream time because I will not be streaming on Friday. So at the usual stream time, you'll have instead a 30-minute code review video that you can watch if you're interested. So anyway, that is all that stuff out of the way. Let's get right into it. Hello, I'm going to pronounce that as Andre, and if it's incorrect, you can correct me. Welcome. Good morning, Adam. Always good to see you. Lukey, welcome back. Kinyaz, good to see you. Hope your clinic visit. Yeah, I'm confused. I was like, clinic visit? I thought Kinyaz was doing a written test. Hello, Kiwi Iwi. So yeah, exam. How was your exam, Kinyaz? Did you pass? Marcos, welcome back. Hello, Craig. Good to see you again. It went all but well, so it didn't go so well. Beat Madness 10 and got all achievements. Thank you. Can we get applause emojis, clap emojis in the chat for Marcos for being the first player ever besides me to get all the achievements? I don't actually, maybe I didn't get all of it. I think I did, but I cleared them for testing purposes. Can we get a clap for Marcos for getting all the achievements in Gunforged? Did you have an exam question on Graves? Clap. That works, yeah. All right. There we go. There we go. There's the claps. Theodore, thank you. Welcome. Okay. So, yeah, today we're going to be continuing on with the shop screen animation. And if you recall yesterday's stream, we ended with that hookah smoke we were trying to animate here. And I'm going to continue with that. So if I go to shop container, I'm going to borrow Christopher's suggestion, which is to use alpha mask. I think that's going to actually work well. So if I put an alpha mask here at the root and then also at the top, I think I can get away with this. The other thing that I'm considering doing is sort of duplicating this sprite. And then if I take this, let's make this unique. If I flip the H and I can give it a different speed and maybe a different alpha mask, that may help as well. So actually, I'm curious. Let's see. If I go in here and I just change the speed to be slower, and I change the wave multiplier. I'm actually curious if that's going to work. Let me see what this looks like, actually. Was so tense to beat it, but I did. Nice. How does that game feel with the 10 madness levels all at once? Does it feel pretty good? That actually doesn't look bad. I think if I used a different alpha mask for the background, that could be pretty cool. Now I'm also wondering what happens if I remove this. So get rid of the outlines. Yeah, that actually looks pretty good. So if I just add some alpha masking there, I think we'll be all right. So let's do this. How wide is this? This is 26 by 27. So that's 26 wide. So let's do this. Oops. I should really put some kind of rectangle here. Actually, you know what would be easier? Let's just do that. So this is 26 by 25. So we'll got that. Let's do the mask now. Hookah mask. And I'll just shift this over. And what I want to do is I'm going to take this gradient tool here. I'm going to select white and black. So there's black. And then white. So if I do this, oh, I want this to be, let's do a Bayer matrix or a Bayer matrix. I'm sure it's Bayer. Let's try a 8 by 8. I don't want solid black there though, so I'm going to do this. There we go. And then what I'll do is I'll just cheat and I'll take this, copy that, flip it vertically. Oops. So there's like an alpha mask we can use. So let's go ahead and export that. Hookah mask. Okay. Let's go back into here. Let's go into that shader, uniform, sampler 2D, mask, filter nearest. So this color, we're going to take that color and we're going to multiply this by texture. And we're going to take the mask uv.r. So basically anywhere that's white is just going to leave the texture just empty or standard, I mean. So the color channels in the shader are on a 0 to 1 range. So if I have a, well, yeah, if I have a red channel that's 1, which will be the case if it's white, all the channels will be 1. Then that's going to multiply out each channel of the original texture color by 1, leaving it unchanged. But if the mask texture sampled at that UV point is black, then it's going to set all channels here to 0, including the alpha. So it's going to be invisible. So we actually don't have, I need to put the mask in here. So let's go and look at that hookah mask. Boom. Wonder if I should... Well, it looks kind of weird in the editor, but I'll try it. So I need to put the mask in here as well. Might want to scroll the mask texture as well, so it's not as uniform. But let's just go ahead and see what it looks like in here. So you added Hookah yesterday. It looks awesome. Well, thank you. Yes, that's such a great... it's always great when Kinyaz finds some of the art good, so that's great. Yeah, I think that looks okay. I just need it to... I might scroll the mask texture as well, so it's not... Because you can tell that it's like a static texture. So if I just add some motion to that mask texture, and I might make the mask at the top a little bit more aggressive as well. So let's try doing that first. So this, let's go back to here, buyer matrix. I said we're going to go back here and we're going to go to buyer matrix. I said we're going to do a buyer matrix. Why isn't it working? Oh. Why did it change colors here? Excuse me. Let's just make that a little bit more aggressive. Way better without outlines. Yeah, I agree. Excuse me. My first platinum on Steam, even before I got a job, I used to play in alternate ways. Now I'll try getting all achievements in Terraria. Oh, good luck. I think I've only platinumed... What have I platinumed? I think Elden Ring and what else? Oh, Sekiro. Elden Ring and Sekiro are the only games I've ever gotten all the achievements on. Add flowing blood in a hookah like health flask as a filter. Yeah, somebody else suggested that too, or maybe that was your suggestion originally. Neozoid, welcome. Shaders have always confused me. I don't think I have made one from start to finish all by myself. Yeah, shaders are confusing. Here, let me just see if I can give you like a crash course on shaders for anyone that wants to know. So let's just see if we can do like a 3-minute crash course. So I'm just going to be focusing on a 2D canvas shader in Godot. So basically a fragment shader, this fragment function, you can think of this as running for every single pixel in the image. Now what you have to know about shaders is that basically every core value is normalized between the range of 0 and 1. So when you're dealing with colors, all of the color channels R, G, B, red, green, blue, and alpha, those are all normalized on the range of 0 to 1. So they can all be expressed in terms of percentages, for instance. So what is the percent of white in the red, or what is the percent of red, what is the percent of green, what is the percent of blue, and what's the percent of alpha? It's the same for the UV texture, or the UV coordinate. The UV coordinate is basically the coordinate on the texture normalized in the 0 to 1 range for the X and Y. So it can be expressed as a percentage from left to right and from top to down. So that's X and Y. And that's why you get weird things like the texture pixel size is a vector 2 that basically tells you how much of, like, what is the UV that corresponds to one entire pixel, right? So if you have a smaller texture, if you have a 1 by 1 texture, a 1 pixel by 1 pixel texture, then the texture pixel size would be 1, 1. Like 1 pixel is 100% of the UV texture, right? And then if you had a 10 by 10, then each pixel would be 0.1 UV. So 0.1 in the X and 0.1 in the Y. So that's the big thing that you need to know. And then if you want the fragment shader to have variables passed into it, those are typically expressed as uniforms. And a uniform is basically just like, it's a variable that you can set from your code that gets passed into the shader and used in the fragment. And then essentially what you're just doing is in the fragment, you're just saying, this is the color of this pixel. So whatever you set the color to being is the color of the current pixel that fragment is running for. So with all that information, you can basically determine what each pixel's color ends up being when the entire shader runs. So that's basically the crash course. That's how you should think about shaders. And everything in here is just about creating the math and using your inputs such that each pixel gets colored the way that you want it to be. So in the case of like a mask, all I'm doing is passing in a texture that is a mask that is just either black or white. And because I'm multiplying that red channel from that mask texture by the output color, it's either going to set the pixel to be the original color or fully transparent. That's it. So anyway, that's your shader crash course. Obviously, there's a lot more to it. There's vertex shaders. There's a lot of complicated math things you can do in here, but that's it. Try to get all achievements in Sword Slinger. Oh yeah, Sword Slinger. That's an ancient one. I do like Sword Slinger. I think that I think that game is very interesting conceptually, but I think that there's room to maybe make it, maybe improve the execution. But yeah. What type of game is this? This is a collectible card game, auto battler grid inventory management roguelike with a necromancy / alchemy / medieval science theme. And basically what you're going to be doing is collecting your cards, upgrading them, alchemizing them, which is a system wherein you can combine the abilities of different cards together into one card. And your goal is to just basically create inventory layouts that are better than the enemy inventory layouts. And yeah, I mean, I'll show the gameplay probably later on in the stream. But yeah, that's the game. Welcome back, Pocket Pixie, by the way. Hello, Christopher. To my experience, ChatGPT writes okay shaders and you can just change around the variables. I only made smaller popular shaders, so I never got to make my own. Yeah, the AIs are very good at writing shaders, generally speaking. I use them all the time. What percentage of time do you use to think of a concept during a jam? So one of the things that I usually do when I'm doing a game jam is, so for things like Ludum Dare, there's a theme voting round where all of the potential themes are available in the last round of theme voting. And so what I do is I try to write a 1-sentence idea for each of those themes ahead of time. So I end up with 10 sentences, each capturing a different aspect of the theme. For game jams where you don't know where the theme would be, it helps to do that exercise still. Try to come up with a variety of game ideas that you think you can make so that you have ideas that are ready to be, let's say, changed slightly to meet the game jam's theme. And if you're in doubt, if you really can't come up with a theme, an idea that matches the theme, what I actually recommend is you can just largely ignore the theme. I've done that several times where my games were either like tangentially related to the theme or not at all related to the theme, and they still scored highly because typically in a game jam, theme is just one aspect of the rating. And some game jams, like they put a theme in place, but then part of the rating is there's no theme category in the rating. So it depends on what kind of jam I'm participating in, but you can generally pretty much ignore the theme, and as long as you make a game that looks good, feels good to play, is fun to play, you're still going to get very high ratings. So obviously that's not as satisfying as making a game that fits the theme, but you can do that in a situation where you really can't think of a good idea that matches the theme. You're probably not going to get, place number 1 in the rankings, but you can still get a game that has very good feedback. So that's how I've done it. I actually have a Game Jam tips video on this channel that I published, I think, a couple years ago now, with all of my tips for Game Jam, so you can check that out if you're interested. Hello, Snup Bill, thank you for the oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to talk today. Thank you for the IDR 10,000. Very much appreciate that. Thank you. And we have the message yummers, of course. We all love that message. Hello, Dusty. Welcome back to the stream. Always good to see you. K Clouds, welcome back. Yeah, you should watch it. Yeah, everyone should watch my videos always. When this stream is over, just, take the day off. Don't worry about making money for your family or for yourself. Take the day off, get yourself some popcorn, and binge watch all my videos. That's what you should do today, everybody. Thank you. That's what you should do, everybody. I've already done that. Well, there's another video coming out on Friday, so you can watch that. All right, let's do this. I want to make that alpha mask. I'm using your suggestion, Christopher, to add an alpha mask to this hookah smoke, but I'm going to scroll the alpha mask as well. So mask, oh, I need to do filter repeat here, I think. Am I not allowed to do that? Repeat enable, there we go. So now let's scroll the texture. Vec2, mask, UV, scroll offset is equal to Vec2. Let's do time times 0.05, I guess. UV plus mask UV scroll offset. Okay, that should be fine. So let's go ahead and take a look at what that looks like. And I may finally be done with the hookah smoke if that looks decent enough. Yeah, I actually think that looks fine. What do you think, everybody? How does that look? Joke's on you, I'm retired. Well, that's good. That's not noticeable. The scrolling is not supposed to be noticeable. It's supposed to just break the fact that you can see that the mask is a static texture. That's all it's supposed to do. So I think that has accomplished that. I mean, I could turn up the speed and just see what that looks like out of curiosity, but the main goal was to just make it so that you can't see that there's an obvious, like, mask pattern there. It's too small to see anyway. I think that turned out pretty good, though. I think that looks great. Yes, claps for Christopher. That was a good suggestion, the alpha mask. So that kind of solves my problems with having the texture just, like, be cut off too. And the alternate scrolling textures, yeah, I think that looks fine. Okay, that was an inordinate amount of time spent on hookah smoke, but I think it was worth it. So I still want to animate the shopkeeper as well. I think I might try to add an idle animation, but I'm not entirely sure what that would look like. Maybe some kind of animation when these things hover too. Anyway. That shader preview is actually pretty nice there. Cool. Okay. I'm gonna rename this to background. I think it would be cooler if it was coming from the seller himself, as naturally it'd be pulled into the center of the image. If the smoke was coming from him. I mean, I can change the position of this hookah. I kind of just moved it. The problem is that if I put it like here, you can't really see it. What I could do is I could leave it next to him. Like so. So it's closer to him. But now I have to replace this shelf 3, which probably, I mean, it's not a problem. I can put it like here. I don't really mind if these things are like a little bit asymmetrical. It kind of looks more organic that way anyway. Like the shopkeeper just kind of like set up shop in the way that he could. Let's see how this looks. It's a nice touch, yeah. Dude never blinks. He's gonna, yeah, I'm gonna get blink. Gosh, this is gonna be a rough stream. I have decided to stop speaking English today. Like idle animation or interactive animations. Yeah, I need more animations for sure. But that does look better now that the hookah is closer to him. I like that much better. It looks like it's just like he can reach over and just take a huff and a puff. And if I was really extra, I would animate that where he would like reach out and take a puff and blow out the smoke. But I'm not doing frame by frame animations in this game at all. And I think that I'm not just trying to come up with an excuse so that I don't have to do work, but I do think that having a frame by frame animation just in this one scene would be kind of weird and not thematic. Anyway, yeah, let's figure out some animations. So I think the next thing to animate would be the shopkeep. So hookah, smoke, animation. All right, let's just see. So the easy way to do the shopkeep animations, let's get rid of this hookah mask and hookah smoke. You know what? I'm going to take this hookah smoke, put this here, and then take both of these things and just move them down here. This is getting a little bit unwieldy here, but that's all right. Let's just put everything back. Oh, goodness. Okay, so the shopkeep. Let's create, we got a shelf there. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of this string. I'm gonna get rid of this text. Get rid of this tag. Sign outline, that's fine. Okay. Let me do some grouping here real quick. So, new group. Sign. We'll lock that. New group. Hookah. And we're gonna move that hookah into there. Okay, shopkeep, rug, upgrade, highlight. Let's do this. New group event. Lock all those. Okay. Goodness gracious. Am I not allowed to move this? Okay. It looks so much better now. Thank you. I appreciate that. Good morning, Nicholas. Welcome. Do you know any other language? Besides English, no. I used to be able to semi-fluently speak German. I took 4 years of German in high school, but because there's no German speakers within like 2,000-mile radius of me, I forgot how to do it. I speak English and bad English, yeah. Unless you want to include sarcasm as its own language, no. Need to buy a Sprite, I guess. Yeah, you can, I mean, you're pretty technical, right, Christopher? So you can actually compile a Sprite yourself for free. But buying is easier if you've got the disposable income. Is there a way to do the smoke effect using only some noise texture procedurally and not any hand-drawn texture? Yeah, I'm sure it is. Yeah, you get your Perlin noise correct, and then you just define a range of values for the solid colors and a range of values for the transparent colors. Should be easy. Yeah. The reason I use a texture is number one, because it's easier. Number two, I think it is a little bit easier to control the shape of the thing with a texture than a Perlin noise, but you can certainly do it with Perlin noise, I think. Does Hookah have any sort of mechanics tied to it, or is it just a decoration? Well, right now it's just a decoration, but if anyone can think of like a mechanic that the hookah could add, like a nicotine high buff or something, I'd certainly be open to making that like, oh, pay X amount of money to take a huffle and a puffle of that hookah. It needs SKIA build. I'm not sure I know what that means. I don't think I know what that means. Now I feel like I've gone down a rabbit hole. Yeah, I mean, it's like A-Sprite is what, 20 bucks? And it's like, I can either sit down and spend 3 hours trying to get A-Sprite to compile, or I could spend $15 or $20. Make the glow blink, it would be cooler. Think of something smart for it. I don't want to waste such an asset. Yeah. Yeah, the eyes. Yeah, so I'm going to make the eyes blink for sure. So let's figure out, we need to figure out how to chop, we need to dismember this guy. Reorganize, shop a sprite. We need to dismember this guy now. So I'm going to do this shop keep whole, duplicate this, and we're going to start, let's add this to a group. Git is really good for like if you're doing some major art changes, just make sure that you've committed whatever you're happy with, and then you can feel free to just go ahead and start chopping things up, and you can always revert. Very, very important. So what I'm going to need to do is highlight this head part. Do this, do that, do that. Apparently I can't type today either, that's all right. So I think I'm probably going to need to add a piece there as well. Which kind of changes the art a little bit, which is kind of unfortunate, but that's okay. So we'll just do something like this, real simple. I almost wonder if I should do it the other way. Hold on a second. I almost wonder if I should do it like go up instead. Maybe I'll do that instead, because then I don't need to worry about this art down here getting messed up. So what I can do in here too is, because this is all going to be pretty much occluded there, I can just take this and just fill this in with a solid color so that any movement of the head, so if I go up, yeah, and I can actually do this up here as well. Oops. So that's what it'll be like. Okay, and then we need an alternate version of the head to do the blink. Which, should I just duplicate the whole texture, or I wonder if I should just... Maybe I should just do the eyes. Shop keep eyes open. So if I take this, we'll cut that out, paste that there. In here, we'll do that. And then here, okay, and then we'll duplicate this. Move this over here. And what I'll do is I will just fill this in. I have no clue if that looks good or not. Nope, that doesn't look good. That almost looks better. Like that, maybe. Yeah, that looks better. So there's a little bit of minimal movement there, but then the bright eyes go away. So it'll just be like very quick. And I'll add some randomness to it too, so it's not super consistent. Oh, Skia is a graphics library that Sprite renders with. Gotcha. I know the word 9. Yeah, I know how to introduce myself. Ich heiße Klaus. That was my name in German class. Klaus. Chris Kringle. Old Chris Kringle. I have a feeling that taking a puff of that guy's hookah would do more than get you a buzz. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Taking the hookah actually leaves an indelible mark on your soul. And you become an indentured servant of the mysterious shopkeeper. Skia. Gotcha. Yes, Neozoid. Neozoid has gone or gone beyond lurking. I think Adam was just pointing out that you're no longer lurking, Neozoid. I'm glad that I'm not the only one that paid for it rather than trying to build it. Yeah, I mean, it's like, I'm very much, this is like an unrelated tangent, but it's like, it sounds cliche, but it's true. Like, time is your most valuable resource. So, you know, if you have fun doing things like trying to figure out how to compile things, that's one thing. But like, I just want to use a Sprite. So I'm not going to waste 3 hours of my life struggling when I could just give up $15 or $20 and have it, right? It's the same for like doing yard work and stuff. It's like, why would I spend 2 hours doing work, you know, multiple times a month on my yard when I could just pay somebody $50 to do it for me and free up the time? Like, I have no interest in wasting my time doing that stuff, you know? I'd rather give up the money than give up the time. Headless Merchant is kind of terrifying, really. Yeah, it kind of is. Kind of is. Reminds me of Grimace. Okay, well. Grimace is harvesting souls, I guess. It built if I just pressed enter. Wow. So as a servant, you bring cards he seeks to him through the run and rewards with special items. Yeah, that could be interesting. I don't know if you were here, Adaton. We were discussing like maybe a bank mechanic. I think maybe you were here, where you could do like investments and stuff. Spend all day working on custom projects in my woodshop. I can either spend hours tracing stuff in Illustrator, or I can spend $2 and buy the SVG on Etsy. No brainer, really. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You know, and it's like, you know, obviously it depends on how much disposable income you have. And of course, if you like spending the time doing certain things, then, you know, that's obviously different. But a lot of people find themselves doing things that they hate doing because they want to save the money. And it's like, I don't think that's the right way of thinking about it, personally, but... Okay, so I don't really know what to do with the rest of this animation, so what I'll do is I'm going to get this stuff... exported and animated the way that it is now. And then... So this is Shopkeep Eyes Closed. Oops. this one screen has taken me more time than like anything else. Okay, Shopkeep body. All right, so I'm gonna hide all these other things. And then I'm gonna go to File, Scripts, Gatsby, Export Layers. File name format, just layer name. We don't want layer groups in there. Export format PNG, export scale, save sprite export. So what that should do is that should just export four layers. Oh, it exported 18 layers. Oh no. So it doesn't inherit the visibility from the groups in here. I need to modify this script. This is like a community script that I got. Only visible layers. I may have... Did I add that? Only visible layers. Should we go on a little adventure? Let's go on a little adventure here. Only visible layers. Only visible layer visibility data. Layers visibility data, hide layers. I did modify this script at one point. This is an Sprite script. Layers visibility data. So it looks like maybe, what is hide layers here? I don't know if I'm going to be able to figure this out. My guess is that it's not inheriting its visibility status from the groups here. So these things are all still visible within here, even though the group is hidden. And I don't know if I can reference that property. Layers visibility data, hide layers. That must be a built-in Sprite thing. So yeah. That's dialog data, hide layer sprite, layers visibility data. So this is just a true false. If layer.isGroup, I wonder if I could just do this. If layer.isGroup and layers visibility data then do it recursively. So, okay. So it looks like a group is considered a layer by itself. So I think that was my problem. So it was recursively exporting the layers underneath the group because it was never checking or considering the visibility of the layer, of the group layer. So now that I've done this, oh wait, layers visibility data. This looks wrong. I don't know. I guess I don't know what layers visibility data looks like here. This, I think this needs to be this, doesn't it? Well, I'm not going to mess with that too much. This probably is not going to work, but let's see what happens. Rescan scripts folder, scripts, export layers. I'm just going to stage this real quick. I have no clue what I'm doing with this Sprite script, so don't quote me on any of this, but we're going on a little adventure. Nope, it's exporting everything again. So that's not correct. Well, that's a question. How much time do I want to spend on this? And layers visibility data, layer. Oh, can I do layer is visible? Oh, if, okay, so maybe I don't even need this. And layer dot is visible. I'm still, this looks suspect to me here. Or this does. I don't know what's in this layers visibility data. I don't know what I'd have to look at the Sprite documentation to figure out what that is, but I'm just trying to get this narrowly to work. So we're not going to export anything in a group if the group is invisible. So let's do this. File scripts, rescan scripts, export layers. This should only do 4 layers. Nope, it's doing all of them again. Oh, exported 8 layers this time. Which 8 did it export? Event, Hookah sign shelf. Uh-huh. There's something very weird going on. There's something very weird going on indeed. I'm almost positive it's this issue here. Is this a nested? Is this a 2D array? I don't know. Let's see. Sprite scripting documentation. I don't have any way of testing this. I'm just like, anyway. Oh, the banker thing would be cool. Yeah, I think so. Maybe the keeper could move its hand so it'd be a minimal animation. Yeah, I'm thinking something like that. I don't think the animation made him look more interactive. Maybe if he shrugged his shoulders or something. Well, I haven't done the animation yet. Sprite uses Lua scripts? Yes. Yeah, indeed. Pixelorama uses GD script. That's nice, yeah. So cool that it uses Lua. I agree. Do you use the Sprite plugin on Godot? I do not know. No, yeah, there's an Sprite plugin, Sprite Wizard. Yes, I don't know. My answer is yes if the round is moving fast enough. That was my answer last time. I don't know. Hide layer. Well, okay. So that's not working. Main. Oh, hide layers. Data, so it's a dictionary. For I layer and I pairs, sprite.layers do layers group, then data I equals hide layer. Okay, so it's recursive. Okay. So that makes sense. So this is a nested dictionary. Or is it a dictionary? So this is correct. Okay, so the problem is... So this is correct. Layer.is visible, layer.is group. Is it hiding the group layers as well? If layer.is group, then data I equals hide layers, else... So it's never hiding the groups. Why is this not working then? So export layers... Am I doing the AND statements correctly? I think so. Well, this is kind of a tangent. Maybe I shouldn't do this, but it's going to be very painful to do this by hand, especially if I'm going to tweak things. If layer is group and layer.is visible, then do this, else... Oh. Else if... not layer.is group and right. So the problem was that right. So if this this just needs to make sure that this is not a layer group. Okay. I hope parentheses work. I don't know anything about Lua, so whatever. We'll see. All right, so back to a Sprite, file scripts, rescan scripts folder, scripts, export layers. Come on, only do 4 layers here. Boom! Exported 4 layers. Let's see. Shopkeep body, eyes closed, eyes open, head. We got it. We edited this script. So now this export layer script will not export any layer that is part of a hidden group, which is perfect. All right, we're good. Side quest achieved. Insufficient answer. It's not an insufficient answer. If you accelerate anything fast enough, it'll penetrate anything. I'm correct. Random tangent. While it's a lot more work, I see the point in developing libraries for Godot and GD extension because then the APIs are added to both GDScript and C#. Yeah. Yeah, extensions are... Well, I think if Godot added the ability to write Godot extensions in C#, I think that you'd probably see a lot more plugins. I don't want to touch C++. I really don't. I wish more plugin did. Yeah. Ask me about Lua. I have a fair amount of knowledge. Yeah, I've never really done anything in Lua besides just that minor scripting stuff. It seems pretty fun to write though. Like I kind of like the these kind of languages that are like I don't know, it just seems like would be very quick to write. Easy to read, quick to write. Anyway, we got to animate this shopkeep now. So, shopkeep, add child node, Sprite 2D. We need the shopkeep body. Our dismembered shopkeep. Shopkeep head. Okay, Sprite, eyes open. I'm not even going to bother with centering that. I don't think I need to do that. Add child node, Sprite 2D. Actually, let's just duplicate this. Eyes closed. So I don't even need, I can just toggle the visibility of the eyes closed here. Okay. So now we can take the head and we can just do that. Shopkeep animation player. New. We'll just call it idle. We'll autoplay. Shopkeep head. Oh, you know what? I need to center this. Okay. That's much more reasonable now. Okay, perfect. Snap. Kerblam. Loop. Very basic. We'll add some more stuff there, I guess. But we've got that going. So now I need to do the blink animation, which is actually going to be just probably a script in here. Do I have my random timer? I don't think so. Can GD extension be used to add new nodes? Because I think I would want to do that. I want to add like a random timer node. Debug. Globals, plugins. Oh, I do have my node library, so I can do this. Random timer. I timer. Min wait time 0.5, max wait time 3. One shot. Auto start. Private static read-only string name. Start random equals start random. Node private sprite 2D eyes closed. Node private timer eyes timer. Oh, I called it eye timer. Eye timer, that's fine. So eye timer timeout plus equals on I timer timeout. Private void on I timer timeout. Eyes closed dot visible is equal to true. Eyes closed dot visible equals true. Get tree dot connect scene tree timer. This is not process always. Scene tree timer dot signal name dot timeout callable dot from. Do I want to do that? Maybe not. I'll create a tween instead. Tween equals create tween. Tween.tween interval 0.1f. Tween.tween callback. Can I actually do this? Dot set delay. Oh, there we go. Callable dot from. Eyes closed dot visible is equal to true. I timer dot call start random. Okay, let's see what works. I would rather cut off my big toe with golden shears than go back to C++. Lua is a functional only language. You might hate it. Oh, it's functional only? I don't mind functional only. Object reference not set to instance of object. What do you mean? What do you mean? Oh, shopkeep.material. Oh, I messed this up. Shopkeep is no longer a thing. Shoot. Oh no. Oh no. I need to redo the fade in for the shopkeeper because I broke him up. Now I gotta put him in a canvas group, I think. Well, that's fine. Is that fine? Change type. Canvas group. Yeah, I'm gonna need to material canvas group fade. Okay, there's a canvas group fade out material. Okay, so he just needs to be, okay. So shopkeep as canvas group fade out material. I don't have a fade in for that. Let's just get this all in place here. Float delay. So now I got to figure out where this is used, probably in a couple of places. Shelf. Oh, it doesn't. Okay. These need to be set delay though, right? Fade out material. Yeah, set delay at the end. I guess I really don't know why these are separate things. I guess I can combine these into the same script, but I guess it makes sense to keep them separate just in case. Anyway, I used Lua to write WoW add-ons. It wasn't so bad, but back then the reward of working with WoW add-ons was made it worth it. Yeah, Lua. Yeah. In Roblox. I do like TypeScript. That was what I used at my job primarily. TypeScript across the entire stack. Do you have A Sprite open? I do have A Sprite open, yes. Tupa? So I can see if I have the right thing. Yeah, this is a Sprite here. I mean, I'm on the dark mode, but... Oh, it can. Okay, I'm a little bit behind on the chat. So yeah, we can do nodes in GD extensions. That's very nice. Yeah, would be an easy node to create in GD extension if you wanted to be your hello world. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so like C++. Game dev. I've been wanting to make a video. There's a JavaScript / TypeScript binding for Godot. At least there was for Godot 3. I wanted to do a video of me just like setting that up and testing it out. Because, I mean, the problem though is that the attractive thing about using TypeScript or JavaScript as a binding is being able to use the wide ecosystem of packages, right? The NPM packages and whatnot. But the way to get that set up, at least in the Godot binding that I look like, it was kind of weird. You had to set up like a watcher so that it could recompile them when you added it. It's like kind of, I wish it was more streamlined, but I think that would be an interesting video. Be retired, I mean from the military. I'm not 65, but now that I get retirement check and VA check, my need to have a good paying job is negated so I can do what I want now. Yeah, that's very nice. That's very, very nice. I know people who are on that track. They're just like, you know, on their 20-year career trajectory, and then they'll be like late 40s and retired. Oh, the dark mode tripped me up. Yeah. Can you show me how to put one sprite on top of another sprite in a sprite for copying and onion skinning? I'm not sure what you mean. You just you just put each one on a layer and then you just move it around. Is that what you mean? Joined at 17, so retired at 37. Not bad, I returned 40 tomorrow. That is not bad at all. That's a very nice retirement. It does seem to be the correct version. Awesome. All right, let's see if this worked. So I changed this all. I don't know if that's going to work, but let's see. And it failed again. Why is it failing? Why is this failing? Oh, because this is not a Sprite 2D, it's a canvas group now. That's why. I should probably read this output here. All right. Okay, the blink is working, except it's not. I probably just got this. No? Oh, yeah, this is supposed to be false. Oops. Oops. Doesn't look like Sprite has workspaces. Like, how do you set one palette for everything you're going to work on? So, yeah, in Sprite, you just go to this icon here. And then you can set save palette as default. So you would go to load palette, pull in your palette, and then go here and do save palette as default. You could also save it as a preset, but whenever I'm just working on a single project, I just save that palette as default. So anytime I do a new Sprite window, it's got the palette there loaded for me. Workspaces would be good though, I think. Okay, the eye timer is a little bit quick in both ways. So let's do 1.5 as the min wait time there, and we'll do a delay of 0.2 instead. Say I want to copy a character I have already made, but I just want to change the face and clothes for new characters. Sorry, I'm being dumb. Yeah, I mean, you just have to cut up the sprite into different sections, like manually. I don't know if there's like an out-of-the-box way of doing that, but I would just like, yeah, make the face its own sprite within a certain like boundary, like an 8x6 or whatever it's going to be, or 6x8, and then you just draw all the individual faces, and then in engine you just have to position them correctly. So like here, you know, I've got the eyes. This is the entire eyes texture here. It's just, you know, 7 by 4, but then I put those as a child of the head in the right position so that they move along with the head, right? So they're all individual textures. He's blinking too often. Okay, let's make the minimum time 3 and the maximum time 6. That looks much better. So obviously he needs more motion, which I'm going to have to figure out now. Yeah, I think if I just moved the arms and the torso along with the head, like in an accordion fashion, so like kind of delayed, so you get like a rise and a fall of the body, I think that would be fine. So the head goes up, body goes up, head goes down, body goes down. Goodness gracious. Thought I was missing something. Yeah, I mean, there's some quality of life stuff that a Sprite could use, but yeah, glad to help, Tupa. Now the dude never stops blinking, yeah. His head movement is weird. We're not done, Kinyaz. We're not done. Do you judge a house when you're like, oh, the framing looks bad? No, we're not done. We got more stuff to do. So, I mean, if you ask me, like, idle animations in video games always look dumb because no one just sits around going, you know, it's like, they always look dumb. They never make sense. Anyway, so I need to take a quick 2-minute break. Let me commit what I've got. So let's see. So I'm gonna commit this. More shop. Let's make this more specific. Shop, keep, idle, initial work. You judge the house when the frame is done too. You judge all the time. Yes, but in this case, you're judging incorrectly. Trying to make Gunforged mix with TMNT Shredder's Revenge, based on my favorite martial arts YouTuber. Interesting. So it's going to be like a martial arts roguelike, I guess. I guess what is Gunforged, where you like construct your swords or something? That does sound interesting. Okay, anyway, I'm going to take a quick 2-minute break, and when I come back, I will be continuing on with the idle animation here. Give some motion to the body here to match the head motion. And yeah, in the meantime, please check out the links in the description below. Those are all the ways that you can support my work. Gunforged is available for sale. I've got my Udemy courses. I'm having a very difficult time talking today. Got my Udemy courses available for sale, so you can purchase those if you want to learn how to build a complete game in the Godot engine. And also there's a form linked in the chat. It's the pinned chat. So if you want to have your code potentially reviewed for a video series that I'm doing on this channel for Godot code reviews, then use that form to submit it. I'll be doing a 10 to 30 minute video just poking around your project, offering my critique about the technical aspects of it, the organization, the scene structures, so on and so forth. The first video of that series is coming out on Friday at 10 a.m. because I won't be streaming, so you can keep an eye out for that. But yeah, anyway, I think that's everything. Is that all the advertisements I need to do? I think so. So give me 2 minutes, I'll be right back, and we'll continue on with this animation work. All right, I'm back. Sorry for the extended delay. So just the roguelike elements and arena style. Yeah, that sounds fun. Carpet is new too. Yeah, the carpet, I added a little bit of highlighting so it doesn't look so flat. All right, so let's see. This is going to be a nightmare. The body here, so shoot. How am I going to do this? Oh, I've got the hiccups now. That's not good. Oh, goodness. What I probably want to do is... Oh, man. What I probably want to do is grab... Shoot. I want the arms probably to be separate. So it would actually be easier to do this then. Let's just highlight the legs here. Can I use... I've never really used the polygonal lasso tool. Oh, that's not good. Wait. Huh? Left button, replace, add to current selection, right button. Okay, so... What? Okay, that's dumb. This is going to be an absolute nightmare. Oh my goodness. Okay, I should probably just grab this while I'm ahead. Shopkeep, I'll just call it lower. Oops. Is that good? Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. This Shopkeep body here, I'm going to turn this opacity down so I can see it a little bit. And then what I'm going to do with the Shopkeep lower is I'm just going to take the blue here and I'm just going to roughly fill this in like this. Just so that we have something masking it, so that when I go to the Shopkeep body here, I need to put this above that. So now the Shopkeep body, I can hopefully move it up as well. Now that I'm going to be moving it up though, I do need there to be some just more detail here. Okay, so now if I move this back down, or no, move this shopkeep body down. Okay, so the art is a little bit different, but that's okay. I'm probably gonna need this shopkeep lower here. I'm gonna need to put that there too. Okay, I think that's gonna work. I don't know, we'll have to see. But just for the sake of making this complete, I'll just outline this as well. We're not gonna see any of this really, so this is actually kind of wasted effort, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Okay, all right, so shopkeep body. So now, yeah, this is gonna be, oh goodness. So I'm gonna do upper. I'm gonna call this upper. I mean, that kind of went better than I thought it was going to go, but let's go ahead and see. Let's go ahead and see. You were a gunner? Wow, that's actually really funny that Kenya has asked a question that you have personal expertise in, and both of you are here on like a random game dev stream. That's hilarious. I'm here for the pixel animation. We received a lore update. Yes, indeed. We got lore on Adam now. I would have painted a mask and then selected the mask. Painted a mask and then... Oh, yeah. That would be a good way of doing it. Maybe I should do that next time. How big or how far along does the project need to be submitted? Oh, yeah. So for the form submission, you can submit a project at any stage of development. I think that will actually make the series more interesting. So the first video that I'm releasing on Friday is from a relatively sophisticated project that has a lot of mature systems and code in place. And so that's going to be interesting for a lot of reasons, and for a lot of unique reasons that are different from how like an early stage project would be interesting. Because an early stage project is probably going to have more opportunities for refactoring, because like a lot of the stuff is still in flux and the game's being built. And so yeah, any project at any stage of development, because I think that there are interesting things to learn from anything, right? So I guess as a spoiler for what I show in the video on Friday, the project that got submitted was using a behavior tree, or experimenting with using a behavior tree for one of the enemy AIs. And so I explored how that behavior tree actually works and how it's implemented just from an educational standpoint. And then I actually rewrote sections of the behavior tree in a traditional state machine so that you can see the difference between the two approaches. So that's a little spoiler for what's coming in on Friday. So yeah, but anyway, that's a long-winded answer to the question of, you know, how far along does the project need to be? Scripts, export layers. Reminds me of Bittersteel's disaster save playlist. He's a YouTuber and people send him their failed Hearts of Iron 4 campaigns to fix. I've seen those. I mean, I haven't watched those videos, but I've seen people reference those videos before. That's a very clever idea for a YouTube series, actually. Send me your bricked saves and I will win. The project that is, name yourself. Yeah. I don't know if the person, I don't know if the person is a subscriber or not, or a viewer. I'm assuming so. Okay. Now we gotta rename this to body upper. Actually, let's keep that. Add child node Sprite 2D. Body upper. Shopkeep body. Did it not? Oh, I didn't call it body upper. I just called it shopkeep upper. Okay. Am I just like not seeing this? Where did that go? Assets UI shop, shopkeep. Assets UI. Oh, it got placed here. Okay. I don't want that to be there. I accidentally did this wrong. Scripts. Export layers. I don't like... I might make another... No, it's fine. I'll just do this. So by default, it will output the files in accordance with the group. It'll make subdirectories for the groups when you export. I don't want that to happen though. Okay, body upper, shopkeep upper, there. Okay, let's get this all aligned now. Our poor dismembered shopkeeper. I guess I don't really need the body lower, but I'm going to do that anyway. Sprite 2D. Body lower. Okay. Right, so I needed that in discrete mode, and then we're going to take this position here. How do I actually want to do this? That's not right. Don't want them to move at the same time either. So I think the animation is probably not... It's probably a little bit too slow. Let's see. Shopkeep animation player speed scale 2. The problem is, I wonder if I just made it less uniform. So let's make this 3 pixels. Yeah, I don't know what the sequencing should be here. Maybe they should be closer together, so let's do this. This needs to go up. Okay, this -28. So we'll start this there. That needs to go up. Then this needs to go up. And then maybe we just reset them down. So negative 28 here. I guess maybe this one needs to move first. Oops. What? Oops. I mean, something like that, I think, looks presentable. Maybe make those closer together so that they're not so separate from each other. This delay is a little bit long, so maybe this is 2.8. So we're going to make this 2.2. No, 2.3. 2.3. Make the animation 2.5. That looks better. Got to a point where he's better at fixing other people's mistakes than playing himself. It'll probably be different to fix other people's problems instead of writing your own code. Yeah, I mean, I think, I don't know, you guys will have to tell me how you like the code review video. It was very interesting to dive into a project that I didn't write and to poke around and figure out how things are working. And then hopefully that's useful to people. I didn't cut out a lot of the stuff where I was just poking through the code and like figuring out how things worked, because I think it may be useful to people watching to show like, how do you dive into a project that's already written and start to understand it? So, but I'll respond to feedback. So if you guys are saying, hey, there's way too much fluff in this video, then I'll cut them down to be more focused in the next one. So it's just like, I feel like I was like, oh yeah, I'll just make a 10-minute code review video. It'd be nice. And then I had like 40 minutes of footage and I was like, uh-oh. So I ended up cutting it down to 30 minutes. But yeah, I feel like that might be too long, but at the same time, I feel like that 30 minutes is packed full of information. So you guys will have to let me know if you want shorter code review videos or not. I'll have to just make them extremely focused, like, hey, I can't tell you much about this project. Here's something that I'm going to rewrite, and this is why I rewrote it. Okay, see you next video, you know? You should make the timing less syncopated. Don't have one head move for every chest move. Oh, I see. Well, yeah, I can experiment with that. I'm just trying to think of what that would look like. I'm trying to imagine it. Admire you for streaming this kind of stuff. So many people will have different opinions and methods of being able to get things to work. It must be intense. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, ultimately, I just have to, like, all the feedback is appreciated, but ultimately, you just have to kind of just make your own decisions sometimes. Friday, yes, indeed. Neozoid still lurking. Good, good. Let me see how this looks in game, and then I'll go from there. There are other things I want to animate too. Spent this entire time on just the Shopkeep. I guess we did a little bit of the Hookah too, but let's see. I mean, that doesn't look bad. I mean, what do you guys think? Again, it's like, is it the most perfect animation in the world? No, but like the entire point here is just to add some life to this screen so it's not all static. So it doesn't need to be the most beautiful animation in the world, but it just needs to give the impression that this is like a, you know, like an entity, like there's actually some life in this scene, you know? I personally think that this animation looks fine, especially with the blink and the hookah. Obviously, I'm not done. Like, I want to animate other stuff here, like when you hover over this stuff. But just like looking at this part, I think, personally, I think it looks fine. How many views do you expect for comparison later? I probably move the left shelf up a bit. I can definitely do that, yeah. How many views do I expect? I think so. The audience for Godot technical videos is much smaller than the audience for like Godot devlogs. So I'm expecting probably anywhere between 5,000 and 10,000 views within the first couple of weeks for the code review video. It's possible that it could be higher. I think I would put the ceiling at like 20,000 views. So definitely not, I'm saying 10,000 views like it's nothing, but it's like, it's not going to be the most popular videos on this channel. But I think the benefit of the code review videos is that, I mean, there's selfish reasons. One, they're going to become vectors for me to advertise my course content in the future, but also like I still like producing the educational content, and also they're easy to record because I just hop in with OBS, hit start record, just talk my way through the project, and then they're really easy to edit because I just cut out the segments that are irrelevant and upload it. So there's a variety of reasons why I like to do it, despite the fact that I don't think that they have super extreme viewership potential. And yeah, so let's move this left shelf up. That's a good idea. I think it's bothering me a bit too. How's that? Will you only review Godot? I like a lot of people prefer to use libraries instead of engines, and libraries are much simpler. Yeah, just Godot. And the reason for that is just because that's where my expertise is, I feel like I can talk more authoritatively on Godot compared to anything else. Larger audience, at least. Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true. I do make some videos that are just catered toward the large audience, like the tools I use for game development, is like, that was just a view bait video, basically. I mean, it was useful. People ask me all the time, like, what's my workflow? So I'm not saying that it's just a throwaway video, but it was definitely a video made with the intention to get lots of views. And then also, but the one video that has surprised me a lot is the Godot composition video that I made, which is a Godot technical video. So it's very much geared toward people who are doing like writing scripts in Godot and building games in Godot. And that got like 250,000 views. And so that is like an outlier where it's like it hit a huge technical audience, which is, it was shocking to me. Like I was not expecting that video to get more than a couple thousand views, really. It still looks a little bit static, but once you're able to hover and see visual changes to the plaques, I think it will make up for it. Yeah, I think so. I could also add maybe like other environmental things here. The problem with this screen, though, is this screen is going to have so much polish compared to all the rest of them that I'm going to have to go back to the other screens and add a bunch of stuff too. Anyway. So I'm thinking on hover, maybe the plaques could just like jiggle a little bit. I'm going to see what that looks like. I think I'm going to call the shopkeep and his hookah, I'm going to call that good for now. I think it looks fine. You know, I can tweak it later, but I think that's okay. So let's see. The nice thing about these is that these plaques are standalone scenes. So I could do something like this, like just jiggle them a little bit. So let's see. I go into my price plaque here. Let's do a script. Game.ui.shop. Yeah, I can just rotate this thing. So public void play. I don't know. I'll just call it feedback, I guess. Var tween is equal to create tween. Var mod is equal to mathutil.rng.rand sign. Var angle is equal to 10 times mod tween property this string property name rotation degrees. I don't know why the AI thinks that's valid. This string property name angle degrees. Let's do angle divided by 2 times -1 0.3f tween property this property degrees 0. Let's actually turn this down. Set ease type dot out dot set transition tween dot transition type dot, let's do cubic. Okay, so now let's go to the shelf here, and I'm going to get a reference to the price plaque here. And then on mouse entered, price plaque dot play feedback. And we're also going to want to store that tween. So private tween, feedback tween. And the reason for this is because I can do this. I can say feedback tween. I'm going to kill this tween if it's valid. So kill the currently existing tween and then restart it. And this is just going to make it so that if I mouse over it a bunch of times before the animation is finished, it just kills the old tween and creates a new one. So I don't end up with a bunch of tweens overlapping. Because if you just create a tween on demand inside of your method to play it, you can actually have multiple tweens all created and running at the same time, and they will actually fight over like the animation. So you can get some weird animation results. It's better to just store a reference to the tween, kill it if it's valid, and this is an extension method. All it does is it checks if the tween is valid, kill it, and then of course I'm using the null chaining operator here to make sure that this is non-null as well. So this line just basically says if the tween exists and is valid, kill it, and then create a new tween. So that's all that that's doing, and let's see if that works. You can add Dala or something, or Dala or some similar decor on the left side trader for symmetric purposes. I don't know what Dala is. Oh, it's a coffee pot. Oh, very nice. Yes. That is a good word. New word for me. That is a good suggestion. Yeah, so like just like a little coffee pot here. Yeah. I like that. Dude, I love the hookah though. I'm very much in love with how that hookah turned out. It's just like a mysterious masked trader who's just toking it up when you're not around. Okay. So, Let's see. Ooh, look at that. I think the angle might be a little bit extreme, but I think that looks pretty good. And so you can see what I mean here if I do this. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to speed it up a little bit. So instead of 0.2, I'm going to do 0.1f, 0.15f, and then here, let's turn the angle down to 6 maybe? And let's see what that looks like. Hello, Yannick. Welcome back. In my Kanban, I place items by priority, so important stuff goes on the top. Do you have a similar idea? Yeah, sometimes I do that. I'm very haphazard with this kind of game right now. Like, I don't have, I just have shop as in progress, which is very vague. But yeah, generally speaking, I'll just put items that I want to work at the top. But I don't like super strictly follow it. Okay, I think that looks great. What I could do for it to even be fancier is I could say that the magnitude mathutil.rand.rng.randf range, I could actually make this a range of 6 to 10, so it has a different strength every time. The trader looks great. Thank you, Yannick. I appreciate that. Why do you not attach notes to them instead of listing in a card title? Oh, you mean like you can attach notes to the cards? In Kanban. Well, I mean, I just write the entire card description in the card itself. So like this sacrifice, I just write what it does. Is there a way to add notes? New note from card, or... Yeah, I guess I just don't. I don't know. I'm just used to, well, I guess I'm not... I don't know. I don't know. I guess I've never really found a need. I just write all the requirements in the card itself. I mean, I'm not that strict with the requirements either. Like, the thing about this is that these are just for myself. So it's not like I'm handing these cards to another developer. If I was handing these cards to another developer, I would definitely take the time to like write more detailed notes about like, here's how it should be implemented and here's how it should work. But for me, it's enough to just write a couple of sentences and then I know, oh, that's how I wanted to implement it, you know? So it's not, I don't think it's necessary. Well, the other reason too is I have this zoomed in, so this is what it would look like on my screen when I'm just doing it by myself. So yeah, they're big, but that's because I've zoomed it in for the stream. I don't know, I'm comfortable with it the way that it is. Okay, so I need to make that alchemy pedestal, or these pedestals, work too. Node, private, price, plaque. Okay, so on mouse entered price plaque.play feedback. Now I'm worried how this is going to look for those pedestals, but gotta remember it's not really a Kanban system, it's a UI over MD file. Right, yeah, that's true. I would love to have something like, we used to use this app called Shortcut, which was a really good like project management software with all the typical things that you'd need, but I would love to have an app like that that just runs entirely locally and saves all the data locally. Maybe that is there like an open source like project management tool like that everything is local? It would be so nice to have that kind of a UI, but then all of the files are backed by Markdown or whatever. Like obviously Obsidian is filling that role, but it's a plugin that adds Kanban rather than being like built for Kanban from the ground up, you know? So yeah, I've only used SAS, unfortunately. Yeah, I feel like there's a good opportunity here for like an open source Trello clone that is like really rich featured and really well built and just runs entirely locally. Like it can even be an Electron app. I don't care, you know. I'll get right on it. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it would be, I don't want to say easy, but like there's like nothing that technically difficult about it. It just would take a lot of work, I think. Canria is basically that. I think I used it in the past. The problem with a lot of open source projects though is they suffer from programmer design. Canria. Like GIMP is a perfect example. Like GIMP, you can tell that GIMP was made by programmers. And I mean like, you know, people who just like, oh, I just need the tool to be quick and dirty and get it done. There's no like eye for UX or anything. What is it called? Canria app. I'm not finding it with a quick Google search. Oh, Canry. Oh, Canry. Canry app. Your personal offline Kanban app. Okay. Saves your data in local JSON files. Well, that looks great, actually. So this is what the Canry app is. Yeah, this looks perfect. I might have to play around with this. When was the last update? 3 weeks ago. So it saves all the data as JSON, which is awesome. The fact that it's open source means you could just stash the code somewhere. Still in active development, is provided as is. The roadmap. Cool. Looks good. Downloaded. Yeah. Good. Good call out. Thank you, Potril. I'm going to have to let me. Well, I'll just save this in my other tab here. I'm going to check that out as well. I mean, I'm probably not going to move away from Obsidian because I've already got a bunch of stuff in there. But if this has more features that you typically expect from like Kanban management stuff, that would be really nice. Anyway, we love procrastinating, don't we, folks? So one of the big things that I still haven't done yet is like the fade out animations for all this stuff. So the shopkeeper comes in. Oh, I need to fade in that. Shoot. I need to fade in the hookah as well. Add price plaque. Feedback animations. The hookah here, unfortunately, this needs to change into a canvas group again. And I need to fade that in as well. So let's see. Canvas group, fade. I'm just going to make that unique. So I need the hookah as well. Okay. Node, private, canvas group, hookah. Wonder how many developers have a variable called hookah in their code. Probably not very common. Okay. I'm gonna reverse this. Nope, I think I wanted to, yeah, that's right, okay. All right, so the hookah now fades in, that's good. I'm gonna make this a little bit faster. Make this a little bit faster. I'm grabbing it. Yeah, downloaded. I think I already referenced those. I used it but went back to a giant markdown file because that works better for me when it's just me on a project. Yeah, I can see that. Niche question I had was, how do you make loading screens? I wish I had a good answer for that. If you're asking about like a loading progress bar, I actually don't know. Most of my games are simple enough or lightweight enough where all I do is I do a screen transition where the screen gets covered and then it loads the entire scene like instantaneously behind that like cover. And even if the game hitches a little bit right there, it doesn't impact the user experience because it's just loading. So it might hitch for like 1/10 of a second or a 1/5 of a second. But because that's happening behind a loading screen, number one, most users don't notice it. Number two, it's like, it's not affecting any gameplay, right? So, but if you wanted to make like a smooth loading screen with a progress bar and everything, I actually have no clue how to do that. If I was in a shop and a hookah just faded in from nowhere, I'd give up the hookah for life. When you export for web, for instance, it takes long for the game to load and not the scene. Yeah, I think that loading screen is like a Godot built-in thing that you don't have control over. But again, that's a situation where I don't know how that works. That would be using like web technologies, probably like a download listener, download progress listener. I don't think that would be something built into Godot necessarily. I need that node annotation in my life. Is that something you whipped up? Yeah, it's actually available on GitHub. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah. github.com/firebelly. You can also install the npm package. So if you just look for Godot utilities and look for the firebelly.godot utilities, but I'll link this in the chat here. There's the Godot utilities link. And yeah, once you install that, add that to your project. There are some source generators that I wrote where all you need to do is just use Godot utilities like here. And then you mark whatever class is attached to a scene as a scene, and then any node annotation within there will be automatically wired up if you call wire nodes. Honestly, this would be another thing to turn into a GD extension. This would be really good to turn into a GD extension, actually, because I wish I could get rid of this boilerplate, this wire nodes boilerplate, and just have that implicitly wire everything up if the node attribute is present. I bet that would be possible with a GD extension. But anyway, yeah, feel free to download that. It's MIT licensed, so you can do whatever you want with it. What's going on with the health orb? I'm not sure what's going on with the health orb. Oh, good question. What is going on with the health orb? Did I break that? Oh, I might have broken that. You are welcome, Budget Jim. You're welcome. So I broke the health globe, it looks like, so. This stuff is looking great now, though. I'm going to animate the shop sign as well. I need to animate the fade out too, but let's figure out why the health globe broke. I'm probably, let's see. When did we start working on this? Let's see, hookah mask. So let me go to the health globe. Oh yeah, something really broke. Oh, it's, why is it using the hookah smoke? Oh. Okay, I fixed it. So I think what happened is I copied this material from this scene and then pasted that in the hookah, but then I forgot to make it unique. So it was being shared by reference. So when I changed the materials shader, the health globe started using the hookah shader instead. Enemy health globe. Let me just make sure. Yeah. Okay. I think that's what happened. So again, you know, it doesn't matter how much experience you have with Godot, you will be bitten by that shared resources issue eventually. Thank you for pointing that out, though. I think it's back to normal now. Shop looks so good now. Thank you. Yeah, I'm really happy with how it's turning out. Really happy with how it's turning out. Fix health globe shader. I cloned the repo, figure out how you did it later. Oh, is that in response to Christopher? Hello, Aniran. Make unique type problem all over again. Yes, indeed. Random question. Let's go. I seem to be having trouble at using resources efficiently. Any suggestions? So, are you I'm assuming you're talking about custom resources. So, I mean, the big thing to think about is you should be looking for, not necessarily looking for opportunities, but there will be opportunities presented to you to separate data from logic. And that's generally just like a good way of thinking about code, is that you supply data into a chunk of code, and then the code is agnostic as to what specifically the data contains and just takes operations based on the configuration. So, to make effective use of resources, basically you got to think of like, what are just like chunks of data that I want to store in my game, right? Stuff that would look awkward if I just wrote it directly into a script file, but also stuff that I want to be able to edit in the inspector and change on the fly. And so for me, like the obvious thing is these card definitions, right? So cards in my game have dimensions, they have artwork associated with them, they have turn cooldowns associated with them. And so I create a custom resource that contains all that data, right? So here's my card, here's the alembic, right? And I can add all kinds of things, like an obvious use of this data container is to what is the display name of this item, right? Alembic is the display name. So that's the name of the item. This is not something that needs to be hard coded anywhere. And I can just change it whenever if I wanted to call it like an alembical, which is, I don't think a word, but I could do that and change it right there without changing any code. And I've got my dimensions. I can change the tags here, critical chance. So this is all just like configuration data that can be loaded into the game based on that, what's configured in that resource. We've got Amanita muscaria, which is just like the red mushroom. So yeah, I mean, I think that's like the general advice I would give. Is there a specific thing that you're trying to use resources for? Maybe I can give you some more ideas specific to your situation. But yeah, I mean, I can see how it would be difficult to decide when to use a resource or how to use resources. But I think if you just think of them as like data containers, like configurable data containers that should get passed around to various places in the code, that might help a little bit. But let me think. I'm just gonna order something. I'm hungry, but I'll hang out here on the stream until the food comes here. You know you're a real streamer when you order food on stream. Well, it's more so that I just want to get better at using them to make my code more manageable. I probably should be more alert, more on the lookout for these things, as well for specific use, trying to see how it would help me make a game better for my friend. Gotcha. Well, I think, yeah, it's... You don't want to end up in a situation where you come up with a problem in search of a solution, right? I think, yeah, just be on the lookout for cases where it's like, this data I have needs to be configurable, and I'm going to have lots of similar chunks of data. So another example is like, you might use a custom resource to define all the NPCs that are in your game, right? So if you're making an RPG where, like a pixel RPG or whatever kind of RPG, where you've got a bunch of different NPCs, you might just want to, in a custom resource, just define like, here's what the NPC's name is, and here's what their faction is, and all that kind of stuff, you know? I actually use custom resources as like a repository of data. So what happens is, when the game loads up, it loads all of these resources in the card directory, and that's how I know how many cards are in the game. So these all get loaded up into a loot table for me automatically, so I don't need to do any configuration. As soon as I add a new card to this card directory, it gets added to the game, like immediately. It just becomes something that can appear in the game. And that's what's really useful. I like to use these as like, I like to use the directories basically as like databases. So if I wanted to load up all the cards in the game, I just load up everything in the card directory, which is, I think, really nice. I did this a lot for Gunforged. So like all the passives, to add a passive to the game, all I needed to do was create a custom resource with the passive's name and a description for the passive. Also add a loot weight to determine how common it is in the loot table. And then I just added the script and the scene for the passive, and it just automatically worked. I didn't have to do any changes anywhere else in the code. All I had to do was just design the passive in a very narrow sense, and then the game systems took over the rest. Because it knows, hey, all the passives are in this directory, and I know where to find all the passive scene nodes, and I know where to find all the passive scripts, and I know what its loot weight is. So all that stuff can just be configured automatically on startup, and it reduces the workload for me. I know that Godot supports JSON, but I had trouble using it. Am I really supposed to work on it from Windows file system in my editor? I'm really supposed to work on it from Windows file system in my editor. Well, Godot does support writing and reading from JSON, but I don't understand. Is it just that you couldn't edit the JSON files in the Godot engine? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, I don't think like Godot doesn't support like editing the JSON files through the inspector, I don't think. You can open them up in the script editor, but yeah, you probably if you're going to manually edit JSON files, you probably need to use an external IDE or something. I had an assignment for Python class to make a Hangman game and made it in GDScript. Professor says good enough. Awesome. That's great. We're trying to make a simulator where there's a lot of complicated logic, which I'm trying to break down, but it does require inputs for stuff like NPC character, the character intent. So that requires a lot of data related to NPC characters that needs to be saved up. It means that the data needs to be there for actual interactions as well. You could say there's a focus on NPC interaction. Oh, I see. Yeah, I mean, I think... Yeah, I don't know what else to say about that. I think that's just going to be a very complicated system, but it sounds like there could be a role for custom resources in there for sure. You can't add JSON from a Godot file manager. You have to use Windows File Manager. Oh, I see. Right, so you can't do this, create new... Well, you could do a text file, right? Yeah, you could do a text file. So you do create new text file and do it here. So create new text file. JSON is an option down here. But I would still probably use an external IDE for JSON editing, because then you can get the JSON auto formatting and everything like that too. You don't have to worry about doing it yourself. That's okay. I mean, it's, you know, there's a lot of little hidden things in Godot that you got to be aware of. Okay, anyway, I think that's going to be it for the stream. I'm dying of hunger over here, so I'm actually slowly withering away. You can't tell, but it's true. So anyway, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you all for being here. I got a lot of good work done on the shop, so I'm very happy about that. And yeah, if you're interested in supporting me, you can check out the links in the description below. You can purchase Gunforge, which is my commercial release. It just came out a couple months ago. You can also purchase one of my Udemy courses if you want to learn how to build a complete game in the Godot engine. Also, the pinned message in the live chat right now is a link to a Google form, which you can fill out if you want to submit your project to be potentially reviewed for a Godot code review series that I'm doing on this channel. In that series, I'll be doing 10 or 15 minutes of 10 to 30 minutes of code review where I just look over your scene structure, your project structure. I look at the code you've written. I offer my critiques, feedback, both positive and negative feedback, and you'll be showcased on a video. And if you wish to remain anonymous, you can do that. Otherwise, you can also write down in the Google form how you want to be shouted out. So it could be a little advertising opportunity for you. The inaugural video of that series is going to be releasing Friday at 10 a.m., which I think you'll really enjoy. So hit the notification bell to be notified when that goes live. I hope you all have a great day. Thank you again for your support, and thank you to the VOD watchers and lurkers out there. I will see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. All right, have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye.